Welcome, dear viewers. The story is a cry from inside the grave. First, please subscribe to my channel and hit the alert button. Let's start. Death is God's decree and destiny. But the ways of death differ from one person to another, and our story today is the most frightening and terrifying of all. First, for those who do not know who the artist Salih Kabil is, we will give you a glimpse of his life story of Salih Kabil. The artist Salih Kabil was born in the village of Nusa Al-Gait, one of the villages of the Aga Center in Dakalu Governorate. When he was in high school, he moved with his family to live in Cairo. There he completed his secondary education, and joined the faculty of law at Cairo University, but he could not ignore his passion for acting. So he left the faculty of law and followed his passion and joined the Higher Institute of Dramatic Arts in Cairo. In television, Salih participated in many successful television series, perhaps one of the most important series starring Dream Nights. In it, he embodied the character of Hayalem al-Salhi, and the events of the fifth and final part of this series were changed as a result of the sudden death of Salih during the filming of the series. The cause of Salih's death. Emir Salih recounted the details of his father's death in more than one interview, where he stated that his father did not suffer from any chronic disease such as stress and sugar as rumored, but died as a result of a sudden and severe drunken coma, on Tuesday, December 1, 1992. After having breakfast with his family, he went to photography, but he returned home in a hurry because of the increased headaches he was suffering from, and his sugar suddenly rose, and the pressure increased. He fell unconscious and was taken to hospital. There, his condition deteriorated. He suffered a stroke and died on December 3, 1992, and remained in hospital for 38 hours until the burial procedures were completed. He was buried in the cemetery he bought himself 6 months before his death. But the question that puzzled everyone was whether the artist Salih was buried alive. The resounding fact that parents and doctors overlooked was that it was nothing more than a coma. To be the able artist in a position that is totally unenviable. A few hours after he was buried, the cemetery guard heard strange voices coming out of the grave, just himself fancy. But moments later, the voices came back clearer. And the man made sure he heard voices coming from inside the grave. It's just ghost sounds or otherwise. So he had fear and ran away. But it was not really ghost sounds. After he was buried by the able artist in his grave, and his heart returned to the pulse to find himself in a position that is not enviable at all. Imagine, dear reader, this horrible situation. That is, when a person wakes up to find himself surrounded by curtains of extreme darkness alone and the smell of death is all over the place. The artist tried hard to get out of the grave, and spent hours of horror that no human being ever imagined. He was already able to open a very small part of the grave, but he was soon overwhelmed by terror and physical stress and fell dead. This time it was a real death. And it happens that one of his relatives died the next day, so everyone went to bury him, and as soon as they entered the cemetery they were horrified by what they saw. It was a sight that would accompany them until the time of their death. The view of the artist Salih while he was dead at the top of the grave stairs, and he sat after trouble trying to get out with his hands on the wall of the upper grave. Of course there are those who lie the story and describe it as superstition. But most people believe her. Burying a man alive in his grave is not rare. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe to my channel and hit the alert button.